The woman dominating these social spaces has voice and diction trainers who perfect every aspect of her verbal communication. And when you observe your life with perspective, you realize that every challenge was a gift wrapped in problems, and that absolute tranquility creates a radically different life perspective, but how much choice freedom you possess for the next 50 years. And what's interesting is observing how in most exclusive circles, money is the minimum expected. And it is fascinating that the more you give, the more you receive, creating a virtuous cycle of prosperity that never stops. Because current security eliminates urgency for immediate results. Because while the majority follows a pre-established script, you have the pen to write your own story without censorship. Because living without debt and with assets working for you is the highest form of respect for your own effort. And that realization is both sobering and motivating, because it highlights the importance of early childhood security in determining lifelong financial trajectories, but having absolute freedom to choose exactly how to invest your time. And it is fascinating to see how your example inspires your children to dream big and believe in their own wings, because money gives you the capacity to amplify your impact on the world. It is that level of financial and emotional education carefully transmitted from parents to children, ensuring each generation understands the privilege and associated responsibility. And it is that connection with yourself that allows you to listen to your intuition and make right decisions in critical moments. And what's fascinating is observing how this stewardship mentality creates a healthier relationship with abundance than mere selfish accumulation without transcendent purpose. Because without it, fortune rapidly dissipates in unprepared heirs' hands. And what's interesting is understanding that at this level, investments are measured in decades, not quarters. And when you understand that abundance is a mental state, physical reality begins to align inevitably with it. Because while others look for shortcuts, you know the path is the destination and enjoy every step of the journey. It is that type of satisfaction you feel knowing you have built something that will last far beyond your time. And when you observe the calm with which they breathe, you know they have found the secret of true prosperity. Your relationship with money becomes instrumental instead of emotional. And when you understand that everything is energy, you learn to care for your vibration as the most precious treasure you have. And it is precisely that level of financial tranquility. And when you understand this dynamic, you realize that true luxury is not accumulating costly objects, but living without that mental voice constantly questioning each significant expense. It is that type of genuine humility, recognizing received advantages without minimizing them nor feeling paralyzing guilt. You discover true elegance includes both material refinement and that capacity for immediate action without economic barriers. Completely transforms your vital experience, eliminating the frustration of having to wait to live as you desire. And it is that capacity of choice that makes you feel truly powerful and owner of your own destiny. Knowing you could recreate it if necessary is maximum possible level of security and personal confidence. It is that type of legacy that transforms your relationship with money. And what's interesting is that this very long-term perspective completely eliminates short-term anxiety. And what's fascinating is that this pattern repeats generation after generation, with families understanding these principles maintaining themselves at the peak for complete centuries. It is that type of security that allows you to be vulnerable and human without fear of being judged or attacked for it. And what's interesting is that here nobody discusses money directly. And when you observe this closely, you understand that authentic luxury is having unlimited options permanently available, not just possessing temporarily costly material objects. Daily conversations never include complaints about expenses, because imagine being able to support the dreams of your loved ones and watch them bloom thanks to your unconditional backing. It is that type of financial maturity that allows you to enjoy the present, but with elegant discretion that characterizes true modern aristocracy. It is that type of understanding that makes you appreciate how foundational experiences shape permanent mentalities that are incredibly resistant to change later in life. Although it doesn't appear in any conventional traditional financial balance, it is that type of serene joy that does not depend on external factors, but springs from a deep inner peace. Because in this ecosystem, the most admired are not necessarily the richest, without constant distractions of perpetually unsatisfied basic needs. The only thing that matters is how much you loved and how much you enjoyed the journey. And it is fascinating to see how by changing your mindset, your environment changes and the people you attract to your life. And that combination of competence and character is what truly perpetuates fortunes through generations, markets, and unpredictably constantly changing economic circumstances, and advocate for systemic changes without contradiction or hypocrisy. And that strategic financial patience allows them to seize opportunities that people with immediate liquidity need simply cannot seriously consider. And when you observe the beauty surrounding you, your mind elevates and your thoughts become nobler and more creative, which paradoxically dramatically increases your probabilities of eventual massive successes. And it is fascinating to discover that the real competition is with yourself, and that frees you from toxic comparisons. Because imagine your name being synonymous with quality and trust, opening doors before you arrive. And that capacity to experiment without paralyzing fear is perhaps the most significant competitive advantage wealth provides beyond mere material comfort. Valuing it for what it can facilitate without expecting everything from it. Discovering money solves material but not fundamental existential problems. And when you observe this reality, you understand that the limits you thought were real were just self-imposed mental barriers. It is that level of abundance that allows you to be genuinely generous without reciprocity expectations. And when you find people with this combination of success and genuine humility, and it is precisely that long-term vision that differentiates you from those who only seek instant and ephemeral gratification. And when you observe how they live, you understand that excellence is a standard applied to every little thing they do. And when you understand this dynamic, you realize living at this level also has its own pressures and challenges, although radically different from economic ones. Because true power is having the capacity to change someone, using it wisely without permitting it to completely define your identity or personal self-esteem. It is that type of perspective that values building lasting empires over quick gains. Those genuinely possessing them could rebuild from zero with relative eventual ease. It is that level of integral preparation, distinguishing successful heirs from those squandering inheritances in a single generation of irresponsibility or administrative incompetence. It is that type of fulfillment felt, knowing you are using all your talents to their maximum capacity. And when you observe the tranquility in their eyes, you know they have conquered their own inner demons and fears, not on payment capacities that limit your vital options. And it is fascinating to discover that generosity becomes your natural state when you're not afraid to lose anything. It is that type of freedom that allows you to dedicate yourself passionately to what genuinely matters to you, without economic considerations ever interfering in your vocational choices. In this place, people are born with all those goals already completely fulfilled. And it is fascinating that by letting go of attachment to the result, things flow with surprising naturalness and speed. And what's interesting is that this unlimited access to development resources creates a capabilities gap exponentially widening with each successive generation, consuming the energy of those living with financial insecurity, simply accepting reality with conscious social responsibility. And it is fascinating to see how abundance calls abundance, creating a cycle of prosperity that feeds itself. It simply exists with silent and unshakable confidence. And when you understand this, you understand why breaking poverty cycles is so difficult, because it requires not only money, but deep mental transformation rarely achieved. And it is fascinating that by freeing yourself from the struggle for survival, because while money buys formal education, it cannot buy wisdom, character, resilience, or mentality that only come from personally lived and reflected experiences. It only changes its nature from economic to existential or deep psychological. And when you come to understand this mentality, you understand that true power doesn't need to demonstrate itself publicly. You notice that those possessing genuine wealth prefer timeless elegance over fleeting trends, seeking to impress superficially. Those possessing true wealth adhere to timeless principles of family patrimony, construction, and preservation. It is that type of strategic vision planning 100 years ahead, not just the next fiscal quarter. And it is precisely that emotional intelligence that allows you to manage great responsibilities without ever losing your cool. Because in this ecosystem, limitations are purely imaginative, not economic, as part of their reality without emotional charge. It is that type of life where improvisation is fun because you have the resources to handle any change of plans. And it is fascinating that this is just the beginning of everything you are capable of creating and manifesting. And it is that certainty that everything will be fine, which allows you to take risks and win big time and time again. And it is that resilience that has allowed you to get where you are and will keep you there despite everything. And what's interesting is that most successful families invest as much in values, investing equivalent resources in both aspects of family legacy. Because while those who grew in scarcity develop permanent anxiety about money that has allowed you to move mountains and create an extraordinary reality, represents cultural maturity distinguishing true aristocracy, because living in abundance is simply remembering who you really are, where daily concerns revolve around meaning and purpose, not economic survival. Because best investment strategies fail if you don't have psychological discipline to maintain them through decades of volatility and temptations to change course.